Welcome back to Bills Bets and Beers. I'm your host, Chad. I know it's been a minute, but been doing some stuff with the fam, but I'm back again. Football season's here. Went to some training camp with the fam as well. That was pretty fun. It was the Friday and the fourth of that was way too on the 28th or not, that was way too hot. So didn't get to see too much of the practice, but yeah, let's get into this video. If you are new to this channel, it's going to be a video where I talk mostly about Bills football, NFL in general, mostly doing some bets and stuff like that, and also doing some tasty ratings of some tasty brews and stuff like that. Trying to do some local IPAs from the area. If you're an IPA fan, just check it out. I'm probably gonna be doing those videos separate so you can kind of see which ones you like, and if you want to try it out, if you're into more sours or whatever, I'll be trying all sorts of ones this year. But yeah, let's get into the video. As you can tell by the title, I'm gonna be doing a way too early AFC and NFC top 8 power rankings, aka the playoff predictions, with obviously the outsider on it. Um, but yeah, let's get into that right now. We're gonna be starting off with the AFC East, obviously, because how else would you start out at this point? Um, uh, let's see. First, we'll start off with the obvious favorites right now, the Chiefs. They won the Super Bowl. You can't take that away from them. And at this point, I mean, the Bengals generally have their number. They're 3-1 against them now, but it's going to be a little tough to take that win against them. So they're going to be staying up there until proven. They kept most of their players, and they showed last year that they didn't need all the big top wide receivers like a Tyreek Hill. They can get it done with a lot of speedy, less known guys. So, going to be very interesting how they do this year, especially with uh, their rookie running back last year coming in. You have a second year, a full camp. They're going to come in a little bit better. So it's going to be fun. At least it could be a very interesting season. Then number 2, hate to say it, Bills fans, I'm putting the Bengals. It doesn't really, it's not what I would love to say, but I was there at that game last year when the Bengals beat the Bills. I thought everything was perfect setting up for it. You had like perfect 32-degree weather where you'd have to layer up too much before the game. Then it just started snowing and getting slowly heavier by the time like you walked into the stadium to start the game, and it just kept a consistent kind of snow. It's like it was perfect Buffalo weather, and we just got stomped by Joe Mixon because he was just running all over us. We couldn't stop him, and then we couldn't get anything going. So it's very saddening that I have to put them at number 2 because they just dominated us at home last year, and I just we have to prove it. We have to prove we can beat them. So, anyways, number 3, I got the Bills. Obviously, you got the Bills there. I mean, they're the next best one in the division. Like it's if you're talking about who's going to win this division, most likely you're thinking Chiefs, Bengals, or Bills. And I know it gets repetitive, but the Bills have to prove they can beat the Bengals and the Chiefs now. They added another team on their notch that they have to beat and prove they can beat in the playoffs in the postseason. So the big thing to me is the Bills proving their defense is going to be able to stop the run. I know KC doesn't really have a giant run game, but that's more towards the Bengals. But if we don't have to worry about the run, then we can focus more on the passing. Then we can do when we do that. We can do that when we face the Chiefs. If we can get to the Chiefs this year, so that's what I'm hoping for. I think Bills can make it 3. They're going to still come out of their division. It's going to be a lot tougher this year because Dolphins and well, Dolphins got a little bit better, but then Ramsey's now out until later in the season, anyways. So we'll see how that goes. I really don't see him coming back really at all, especially him being able to come back in December. He's gonna be at like 80-90% then. He's not gonna be fully 100% back. So they did add some people to the running backs and a couple other pieces, but to be honest, at this point, they're around the same they were last year. The Jets, they boosted heavy. I mean, Rodgers is a big piece, but then they got a couple more wide receivers in there, and it's going to be very interesting how that goes. They got the offensive rookie of the year, defensive rookie of the year. Their defense is solid, so that's going to be a good, like just a good home opener for them this year, facing the Bills. We're going to be coming in their house trying to prove that it's still our place and not Rodgers's, and we're just going to have to show that we're the top of the division. So, but I still see us coming out on top. There's no, I think it's going to come down to the last couple games of the season, maybe, but we're still going to be winning by like 1 or 2 games by the end. Then fourth, not really surprised for I don't think anyone. I had the Jags. Um, it's just I don't see much else coming out of that division. It's going to be a very tight AFC South. Um, Texans aren't going to be in it. I mean, they've been adding a lot of key players, but they got the rookie down there being the quarterback, and yeah, he showed well in college, but I don't think he's going to be like showing out. So I just think the Jags improved enough, and they have that I forgot the wide receiver that got caught betting. He's gonna be coming back, and then they added another key piece in the draft, and their offense is just be all around better, and their defense is gonna be a little bit better as well because they're gonna have more years on the people playing. Last year they had a lot of like younger players, and now they have another year under the belt. Like I said, a whole nother camp. So I think they're gonna come out. And with it being a weaker division, Tampa's not going to make it without Tom Brady. Um, Panthers, I don't see them making it over that hump either. I think they could have a good chance of getting into the playoffs, but I don't really see them taking this division. So that's why I got the Jags down there. Um, Fifth, very interesting. It might actually it's not really. I have the Ravens. They added OBJ. I think he's going to be a good key piece added to that offense. And as long as that defense and the running, actually, as long as the running backs and Lamar stays healthy, I see that being a very strong team this year. They're not going to be strong enough, obviously, to beat out the Bengals, but I think they're going to have a lot of. I think the North is going to be very interesting with how it goes between the Browns, Ravens, and the Bengals. I still see the Bengals coming out on top, but it's going to be by like a game and a half, or like a game or two at the end. I don't think there's much more than that to see who wins that division. So, and it's going to be one of the divisional games as well. So, Browns technically had the Bengals number last year. Ravens just have been injured, but it's going to be very fun to see how this kind of lays out totally. But I got the Ravens at 5. Then I got Jets at 6. I think some people might. I don't think people have them any higher than this. I think people mostly like maybe have them at like 7 or like 8, just creeping out of the playoffs where they can't get in, but knocking at the door, which would be a big up from where they've been as of late. But I have them coming in at 6, and 6 and 7 are gonna be very close. Like it's gonna be literally a game between them. See who gets either seed. But I have it as the Jets because, like I said, they got they they loaded up on the offense. Their defense is another year of experience. Hopefully, if their offensive line can stay fully healthy this year, they're going to have a big chance of getting into the playoffs. I think this could be bode very well for them. But I see them being like maybe like a early-ish knockout. Maybe they get to the divisional round, but I see them most likely losing the first game in the playoffs. But who knows? If Brees Hall can stay healthy throughout the whole thing, then they might be able to put a good push towards this game going into like a divisional round against a player. And if that does happen, it's most likely to be against the Bills. Just like with how like Dolphins, they faced them first. But if they can get into that place, Bills would be more. Actually, no, they would be facing the first seed, so Bills can grab that. But like I said, it's probably going to be Chiefs or the Bengals getting that. Now, 7th seed it was pretty tricky for me. It was between the Chargers and the Dolphins. I threw the Chargers into that role only because I don't know. I just think the Chargers have a better quarterback situation. I don't think Tua is going to make it through this whole year. I mean, it's sad to say I don't want to see him get injured, but it's literally one more concussion. He's pretty much out for his whole career. And I don't know. He's very injury prone, and I just don't see him making it. It's just hard to see him making it through a whole year when he hasn't done it already. So without Tua back there, Skylar Thompson ain't going to do it for him. And now with Jalen Ramsey being out most of the year, it's the same thing. Xavier Howard's not going to have pretty much any help on the other side. They're going to be depending on rookies and young DBs to fill in for that, unless they can find something in the rest of this offseason. But I don't think they have been. At least I haven't seen any signings or possible signings for them as of late. So it's sad to say I just don't see them doing too much. So I got the Chargers in that position at number 7 because the big thing that hurt them last year was health. If the wide receivers can stay healthy, Herbert's going to shine through, and their defense wasn't bad last year. Bosa's getting a little bit better for them, and I don't know. I think they're going to be a pretty good wrecking crew. They're going to have their corner that they got from the Patriots last year actually healthy this year, not out the whole year. So with health, they're going to grab number 7, and even with this, with the Raiders without having Carr, it's going to make it a little easier for them to get those wins. And then same goes for, I mean, Chiefs are going to be pretty difficult, but if they stay healthy, they can compete and probably split those. And the Broncos are not going to. I don't think they're going to really struggle with them too much, just because they just weren't that great last year. I don't see them improving much. Maybe they go to 3 this year instead of 4. But so I see the Chargers grabbing number 7, and then and the Dolphins are getting 8. They're going to be just out of the playoffs. I know it's just going to come off as me being a hater of the Dolphins, which I don't love them. Squish the fish every day, but I just think I would have had them at 7 or 6 if they would have Ramsey all year, because that would make their defense even stronger than it was last year. And now teams aren't going to have to worry about having 2 shutdown type S corners on the outside. Now they can send out people and then they'll weaken up the middle and then they can run over them. Yes, they do have a good D line. They have a good front 7 going on there, but it's just their back end's going to kill them. And then once people have to drop back and help with coverage, then it's going to open the run game a little bit for the other team. So I have the Dolphins just making it not into the playoffs. So too bad. Like I said, if Tua stays fully healthy and Ramsey comes back and he can play towards the end of the year and he helps them win a game in a game or 2 in December, good for them, and they can get through that, but it's going to be very unlikely. I think anyone else, the percentages on that would be very low. So, but like I said, it's not going to be a bad year. They're probably still going to get like 10 or so wins, 9, 10, like probably capping out around 10 wins. But I just see the Jets get more, and same thing with the Chargers. So I think that's going to be the difference. It could be one or so games that's going to make him not make the playoffs again, or not make the playoffs at all. So let me know if you guys like this layout. I figured doing top 8 rankings would be interesting. Everyone does like a top 10 or like top 12. I'm doing a top 8 because it gives an into hunt picture, like just right on the outside of the playoffs, and then the actual playoffs where I'm giving you divisional winners and then giving you the stragglers of the 3 that make it in the playoffs now. So giving good thoughts. I like the idea, but let me know if you approve of it or what you think of it. But I'm not going to hold you guys up too much. On to the NFC. This to me wasn't really, like I said, both these lists are kind of boring besides a couple mix-ups here and there. Pretty similar to last year. I got the Eagles at 1. They're still going to be top of that division. They're not losing too many key players. I mean, they lost Miles Sanders, but for what Miles Sanders is getting paid, they literally have all their running backs paid for the same price. So they did win out in that book. I think they're going to be getting total probably a little more production out of that, so they don't have to just feed Sanders so often. He was a good running back, but I don't know. I just see them still being productive in that because their O line was like the best last year. I think they ended up top rank, like number one in the whole NFL. So they're not gonna have too much trouble running back there. I see Jalen Hurts running less this year. Just like with Josh Allen, I think he's gonna start trying to be more of a pocket passer. Yes, he's gonna still run, but probably run at least 20 or 20 or so less attempts this year, which will still bring him over the 100 mark. But I think he's not going to be getting as much touchdowns on the ground, and hopefully trying to use his wide receivers to get some touchdowns that way for him and show them that he can surpass like 30 passing touchdowns and that he is a pocket passer as well as a runner. Because right now, if a team can stop them running and stop their run game, that's kind of the way to beat them. Because yeah, they do have some quick wide receivers, and they have AJ Brown. They have good players out there, but if you shut down the run and then now you're focusing on the wide receivers, you can slow them down. So to me, it's kind of like the Ravens, like with Lamar. If you stop Lamar and that run game and kind of fill the holes, then you give the back end a chance to kind of have a chance to make them make those risky throws, and then they can make a play on them. And then that's where he's going to probably get a couple more turnovers this year, but I still see him in the top. It's going to be hard to kick them off, especially with the division they're in. I mean, it's going to be very competitive, the division, because I got 3 of the teams in this top 8, but I just think they're going to be splitting a couple more games this year with them. So it's going to be fun, though. I think like I said, it's hard to kick them off. You can't move them. Then you got the Niners at number 2. Brock Purdy's going to have another year underneath his. He has a year underneath his belt now. Not as a full starter, but he has good games, good big games, like postseason games. So that's going to boost his confidence this year. He is going to be having a whole training camp now. He's going to come back, have a full off season. He's going to have a better understanding of the whole playbook. McCaffrey's going to have a better understanding of the whole playbook. Defense is going to be just as good. I just see this team beating out whatever other team comes out of. Like, I'm just NFC is the more weaker division of the two. So I see this team. It's gonna be hard for anyone coming out of the NFC North and like NFC South to beat them out at this point. Next up, I got the Vikings. So Vikings, even though they're not most likely they're not going to have Cook. They could still sign him, but it doesn't look like they're going to. Room got shaken up a little bit back there, but to be honest, they still got Justin Jefferson, Kirk Cousins still going to be playing above an average quarterback play, which is going to be enough to get them over the hump to most likely win this division. They're going to be just creeping past, in my opinion, like the Lions. They're just going to be making it past them, and not much else to really worry about there. But yeah, I don't know. Not really much more else to go there. I think Jefferson's going to be the difference. And then, I don't know. I think their wide receivers are going to be fine. They have some speedy guys. They have their decent running backs. And I think their defense is going to be the biggest test for them, but they can kind of stack up on it throughout the offseason. And we'll see how it looks within the first 4 weeks. And we'll have a good view of the big picture at that point. Number 4, I have the Panthers. They added Miles Sanders. They have a second-year QB, Bryce Young. Going to be very interesting for them this year. I know they lost McCaffrey, but now they're not they have so much extra capital at this point that I think they're going to be able to make a couple runs at some late players, maybe like take them off some teams from like that played well in the playoff. I'm sorry, in the preseason games. So I think they're doing going to do very well, well enough to win that the weak NFC South division. I mean, having Tampa, Atlanta, and the Saints. I mean, they don't have much other competition there. You know, it's just Tampa's going to be weak without Brady, and I'm just realizing now that I mixed up the Souths, but it was kind of similar. Not similar, but I misplaced the Titans for the AFC, but Titans are going to be probably coming up second in that division and for the AFC South. So, anyways, back to the NFC South. I got the Panthers, like I said. I think they're just going to outdo everything else. Falcons, it's a year or two early before they really boost out into what they possibly can be. Tampa is going to have to rebuild that quarterback, which is going to be a big deal. I mean, Brady helped a lot for them. Their defense wasn't bad and it was pretty solid, but it's just too many people are leaving and they're not filling as much stuff in for Tampa. And I don't know. I, I don't think there's any other team that's really challenged. I mean, the Saints, they have been building up a little bit down there as well, grabbing different QBs, grabbing some weapons, some stuff in the defense. Saints might be a good sneaky play at a possible playoff berth, but I don't see them coming past the Panthers. I mean, it could be very close because last year it was literally a toss up to the last game. So, number 5, I had previously had the Cowboys, but now I'm putting the Lions. I think the Lions are gonna come back big this year. They played good last year, just just missing out. I mean, they played very well. They just didn't. They couldn't put a full. I don't know. They couldn't put a whole thing together at the end. And I think now with the experience they have in last year, they have some good young talent coming up and still improving. And head coaches still probably giving them some good motivation with his speeches and stuff about like taking ankles and biting whatever. I don't know, but it's gonna be very fun year for them. And I think they're gonna be trying to edge out the Vikings on this to get that divisional win for them. But I still see the Vikings beating them out just because they have more continuity and the quarterback. He has proven himself more than Goff. I mean, I know Goff has a Super Bowl, but throughout the years, Kirk Cousins has better stats on him, and he's been more consistently better throughout his career. So that's why I got them at 5. Then number 6, I have the Cowboys. I want to draft them back 1. I think the Cowboys are still going to have a good year. I just think the Lions are just going to have a better one at that point. And with that, like with the people they face, like the Bears, yes, they did improve, but they're still not as good. Packers, they're just a mystery at this point. No one's going to know how they're going to do. And then, and like I said, they're probably going to split with the Vikings, to be honest. So I just think they have a good chance of getting enough wins to creep past the Cowboys, especially with now the Giants are improving over in their division. Washington, they're not. They're still like they're a QB kind of QB and some offensive weapons away, but their defense is still good. They got a good young defense, and they have to make do with it next couple years. But I think they're kind of going to be screwed once those players come up for their contracts. But this year they're still going to be good on defense. There's, I mean, it's just going to be hard for the Cowboys to kind of compete with, I think, with the Lions for that 5th spot. So, but it's going to be within, like I said, only a game or so, if that. So, next, I have at number 7, I do have the Giants. So, like I said, that's my 3rd NFC East in there. So it's a strong division now, and before they were always very close, and now it's just the teams all got better, and now they're all still kind of fighting for like different seeds in playoffs. But Giants could easily miss it as well. I had it between them and the Seahawks, and I just chose the Giants just because Saquon. If Saquon wasn't going to play the first couple weeks, I would have thrown it probably to the Seahawks. But with the Giants having Saquon now, they are bolstering some stuff up for them. I see them having a good chance. I just think the Cowboys are going to beat them out for that sixth spot, and it's going to be a divisional game that they have. That it's either going to be like if Cowboys might sweep or they're going to split, and just one of them not sweeping is going to give either one the advantage. So that's all it's really going to come down for that at least for that point for me. Daniel Jones, hopefully I can see him improving this year, but it's going to be very interesting what they do with Saquon at the end. So I think Saquon's definitely be taking more of a blunt of the production again this year as usual to try to earn that contract again and prove that. I mean, that he's going to be needed to be. I think everyone knows he has to be there, but just prove it to everyone else that doesn't know at this point. Next up and lastly, I got the Commander. No, sorry, I got the Seahawks at 8. Seahawks, like I said, they had a good solid run last year. They almost made it into the playoffs. I was almost going to put the Rams, but they lost too many key spots on defense, and their offense really is just Cooper Kupp. At this point, there's not much more offensive weapons there. Trying to do bets on games for them is very difficult because you don't know who's going to get the ball and how many catches and things they're going to have. Because yeah, you can go on Cooper Kupp, but it's just for parlays and stuff. It doesn't really help you. The odds are always in the favor of Kupp doing more, so you have to really and he's always going to get the catches. So you have to really play the long game and trying to win on those bets, and it's most likely you're going to lose. So it's just Rams haven't been that great, and I don't think this is their year either. So that's why I had the Seahawks coming up, where they're not going to win the division because obviously I had 49ers getting that, but they're going to be in second place again. So they could probably split a game with the 49ers. They're probably going to win both games with the Rams, and Cardinals aren't doing that hot either. So they're just in a key position to get that last, to almost fight for that last spot. That's why I almost had them over the Giants because the Giants are having a more fighting in their division. But I just see the Seahawks just missing out again, and the Giants are kind of not too good to miss them, but they're just good enough that it's hard to see them not making it. If that makes sense. It's like a very good thin line. It would really all depend on how good Geno Smith is this year. Again, if he shows out like last year, I could see them getting in. But they still lost enough games last year to make them not get in the playoffs with a very not weak-ish, but like a weaker NFC. So that's gonna be very fun, a fun conference to watch. Okay, well that's it for that. Keep that running for a little bit more. I have some upcoming videos I'm gonna be doing. I'm gonna be doing a season prediction parlay, just kind of doing like divisional winners. You can see them on here. What most likely it's gonna be on it. I still have to see some odds if I want to mix it up to make it better, but probably be very similar to this. Just give you the odds of it and things like that. Um, then I'm gonna be doing just like a starting offense and starting defense predictions for the Bills. I'll split it between two videos so it's not too long with explanations and whatnot. But I'm going to try to get some buddies on here and probably some other content creators as well to see how their camp's going, see if I can cooperate with the Bengals creator I did last year and see if he wants to come on, just talk about it, how our camps are going. Especially be very interesting to see if he knows some extra information on Burrow and things like that, because he's probably going to training camps and seeing if he's still like walking around better or just like stretching on the sidelines and things like that. just things that I just haven't I don't have time to more or less pay attention to. It'd be nice content for both of us as well. Um, Anyways, I'll do some shout out to some sponsors. I have my wife's Instagram page. She does, it's called Crochet with Elisha, Elisha. I'll put it right down here. It's for just, she makes everything. She makes for the winter around here, guys. She makes gloves, scarves, cardigans, blankets, things for kids, like everything that I've mentioned. She makes for kids, adults, anything you can think of, hats, some like beanies with the beards attached, things like that. It's just she makes everything, and they're all made out of good material, and she makes can make them pretty quick. So if you want anything, check out her page. She even makes all types of like little dolls and literally anything you could think of, she can make. So shoot her a message, let her know what you want, and then she can shoot you back with a price point. Um, Next, check out my buddy Mr. underscore Nasty Time. His job schedule just got back to kind of where he can make some videos, and he's getting used to it. So he's been doing more videos on the QB rankings, running back rankings, wide receiver rankings, things like that. So making some good content for you guys. Check him out. He still does some gaming videos as well. But yeah, always good watch. Go to his YouTube channel, give him like and subscribe. Like I said, he always does some pretty good stuff. But that's gonna be it for me. As you know, go Bills, and I'm out.